Good morning everyone. So we're back again at the VW Tourareg, and as you seen in my last video, we're a bit scratching our head with this because it's got a coolant leak and then it had a fuel pressure fuel pressure drop. So I already said to me, Sandy, let's just let this go and see what happens over the weekend. And sure enough, we got the phone call on Monday. The guy had said he had broke down. So we went out to him and we cranked it over and it was low pressure. We were only getting up to about 75 psi or 100 psi. So what we done was we took take that off. We took off this pipe here and we sprayed in some brake cleaner and already popped the pipe back on and it started. But there was a terrible knocking noise and a lot of white smoke, and over this side you could see odd puffs of smoke coming out. So we just took a screwdriver and we went along each of the injectors, starting at that side, and we could hear a clicking. So we came up to here and we came up to number 3 injector, and you could feel the pulsing through the injector. So what we done, we disconnected electrically number 3 injector, and the thing stopped and started, no problem after that. We never had a pressure drop. We didn't need to use the brake cleaner to get it started. So we've decided to attack this injector this morning, and Roddy went just to that spline bolt thing there. Now that was loose. So this is these one-time use bolt things only, but it's no explaining why it had a pressure drop, because that just seals the injector into the, what do you call it, for compression. But what I meant to say, we were also getting hydraulicking or hydrolocking, but we could hear it when we were cranking it over. It turned normally and you heard it starting to lock up. So it was spraying too much fuel into the cylinder. So we're going to pop this out and see what we can find. Get the return pipes off. Look, these little bits, you've got to pop them up. So you see the little tabs? They remain down the bottom and the rest just come up. We used a screwdriver. This one, the last one that we were wanting to get, it's particularly stuck. So I had to use a wee screwdriver this side and this side and just pop it up. So that's the return. So you can see it's got a fancy little bit here on that injector. So is this is it measuring the return? Because it's I would assume this is a pressurised return. So is this little gadget measure it, or is this for pressure? I don't know. Maybe that's why they're so expensive. These glow plugs, £550 plus VAT. Just to get the pipe off the top of that injector. Now that's real tight. That is a 17mm spanner goes on there. But the way I done it, I had to kind of go in like an angle like that to get at the top of that pipe. So it's 17mm. There's the little pipe there. So I thought this injector's stuck in there within the bore. I thought I'd nothing better to do than use my new eBay tool I got a couple of months ago. But there's no any clearance to get that thing in there. I think that would probably be the size. But you can see it's getting fouled. I want to get in a bit. I wasn't even looking at that. Oh dear. So we've managed to extract the injector, and look at the state of that. But we're worried, can't find the washer. So we're back at the Volkswagen. So we went and got some stretch bolts and the copper washers. Now, most expensive washers in the world at £11 each. And there's a diagram how they go in. So you can see there, I think you can see there, the slightly thinner side. Or what would you say, is that concave side goes to the top, like that diagram there. So here we go to tackle up. But what we did find out, or the guy told us, check all the stretch bolts, and Roddy found the one next door to number 3, so that's obviously number 2, hits loose as well. So ultimately for this job we need to change all the stretch bolts and all the washers, but we're going to do this one first to get it running, because we got the injector pressure tested and it was opening at 140 bar.
No, it was 200 something.
It was meant to be 200, eh?
Maybe
He said it's opening far too low at 140 bar, where it should be opening at 200 and something bar. So that injector was kaput. So got a new injector, going to put it in, see how it goes. There's the said injector, didn't you notice it was lying next to me? So we need to code it in. Let me see. So there's the code there. What's that say, Roddy? Bravo Alpha Alpha, India Echo Alpha Foxtrot. So that indeed is a pressure transducer. So what we're going to do, once we put it back together, we're going to see if we can see this on the scan tool, the flow rate of the injector on the return. So that'll be quite interesting. So you can see this one comes with a copper washer. Well, it really should at these prices. Injector's in, so I've just put that, the new stretch bolt finger tight. So it's 7 Newton meters plus just about 180 degrees. I believe it's 170 degrees. Now what the guy said, you're better to under tighten them and over tighten them, because these bolts have a tendency to snap, and you certainly do not want that. And put back together. So the last bit we have to do is code up the new injector, so that is number 3. So let's hope they're just in normal cylinder order and don't like them on Davis, which put them in firing order. So number 3. Our coding circuit, or coding function, so we're going for injector 3. That's the code there. Now this is the one that came off it. Bravo Alpha Alpha, India Echo Alpha Foxtrot. So we're going to put that in there. That's the new injector coded in. Injector 3, Bravo Alpha Alpha, India Echo Alpha Foxtrot. So moment of truth. Let's go. Okay. Back out of this. Back out of that. Back out of that. Codes only. Now I hadn't cleared that code that said injector 3 open circuit. So no codes present. And I think we'll just go for it, Roddy.
Right. There you go. See what happens, mate.
Right. Here we go. Well, that sounds a whole lot better. None of that knocking noise. That's quite sweet, actually. Roddy gave me a thumbs up. That must be good, boys and girls. There you go. That sounds like a different animal. Absolutely spotless. So let's go into codes. No codes present. Let's have a wee look at the data on this thing. I wanted to look at that flow data. So, what do you think? Cylinder information. Now we're looking through the data PIDs here, and I just I customised the list and selected anything to do with injector. So you can see injector 1 rail pressure calibration point. So I'm actually not sure what these figures mean, but you see there's pre-injection, post-injection, pressure control valve adaptation, high pressure control deviation. But I think if you remember, the problem with this was a code of P008700, low pressure, so the best thing we can do is take this a run. But I wouldn't be sure if we could see figures on the snap-on tool for the return. Maybe need VCDS. But we're going to give it a run, see how it goes. So we're giving it the test drive, and we're looking good at the moment, although we can't get a good run at this. You can see our actual versus our specified. So we're getting up to, the highest was 23,000 PSI. So I think this thing goes up to about 30,000 PSI. But looking good at the moment. Test run again. So we're up to 27,340 PSI. They mirror each other exactly, but what we have learned is, see when you come off the throttle, that's when you get this downward deviation. But I think if you remember from the last video, the deviation was on the upward. It means we weren't getting enough pressure, so that's one thing we've learned. When you see the spikes going down the way, or deviation when you lay off the throttle, that's perfectly normal. I would assume so. but we've gave this a good gun up and down the road here, and we're not getting that P0087 code. So that one injector was the problem, and it's a good job it manifests itself like that, because as Roddy said, we could have been chasing our tail, changing pumps and things like that. So good lesson. If you don't know what's the word, if we didn't in your exact direction, stop, run it till it gets worse. There we go. Cheers.